Hello, this is Rick from MathX, and today we'll be solving number 24 from the 3rd 4th grade Math Kangaroo 2018. Now, this problem isn't that hard, but because of its high stature on the test, many people who could have solved it didn't even attempt it out of fear. However, I'm here to show you how easy this problem is, and show you that if all those people who didn't do it did it, they would just got an extra free 5 points. So without further ado, let's just get into it. To defeat a dragon, Matthias has to cut off all the dragon's heads. If he can cut off 3 of the dragon's heads, 1 new head will immediately grow. Matthias defeats the dragon by cutting off 13 heads in total. How many heads did the dragon have at the beginning? So, we can't really attack the entire problem at once, so let's break it down into steps. The first step to writing an equation would be to label what we want to find. So in this case, I'll label h as the number of heads the dragon originally had. From there, we have to express algebraically how the dragon went from h original heads to 0. So, let's say the dragon started with h original heads. It tells us that Matthias would cut off the dragon's head, and as soon as 3 are cut off, 1 new head would immediately grow. So let's say Matthias starts and he cuts off 3 of the dragon's heads. Then that means that 1 new head would immediately grow. So then, in order to defeat the dragon, he would cut off another 3. Once again, another would immediately grow. And we keep on going on and on like this. And we see that we can track how many heads that Matthias has cut off from this dragon by looking at whatever minus there is. So in this case, we have -3 and -3. So at this point in the story, he's only cut off 6 of the heads. So he cuts off 13 in total. So we keep on doing this until we get to -13 total. So after this set of cuts, he cuts off another 3 heads. And then since he cut off another 3 heads, a new head would reappear. After this, we're only at -9 heads, so he has to cut off at least 4 more heads. So -3 again, and add 1. Now we're at -12 heads. So that means that he would only have to cut off 1 more head till the dragon was vanquished. Now, 1 head will only grow once 3 heads are cut off. But since he's only cutting off 1 head in this case, nothing will happen. So we get -1 once again. And we get, at this point, the dragon's vanquished. It has 0 heads left. After all these 13 -3s and this -1, this will give us -13 heads, meaning that the dragon has been vanquished. Now we have an equation with h, and to find out how many heads the dragon originally had, we just need to solve for h in this case. So we can simplify all these -3s and -1 down to a -13. And since on the way to do this, we added 4 ones because of the number of heads that popped up after 3 were cut off, we get +4. And these are all in relation to the original h heads. And this would give us 0. So we basically just simplify this original equation down into more simpler terms. Doing some computations, we get h -9, because -13 plus 4 will give us -9, is equal to 0. And then bringing the 9 to the other side, we see that h is equal to 9. Giving us that the dragon originally had 9 heads. So here, we solved the problem. We got that the dragon originally had 9 heads. Now, this was the number 24, but as soon as we set up an equation for the problem, at that point, we could just simplify and compute. The main challenge is developing this equation. However, once you get past this step, you can solve the problem with relative ease. So a good technique to practice for Math Kangaroo is just practicing developing equations for word problems. And by doing so, even the hardest of 5-pointers won't be able to stop you. So that's an important skill to look into. And maybe in the future, I'll create a video on how to make equations for word problems, as this is a really important skill to not only do for Math Kangaroo, but to do in any major sort of math competition.